In my decades of working with seniors, I've noticed something fascinating about wisdom and foolishness in our golden years. Recently, over coffee in Boston, I met Margaret, 85, who made me reflect deeply on this. "You know," she said, "the saddest thing isn't growing old, it's growing old while repeating the same mistakes." Her words hit home. Age doesn't guarantee wisdom, and certain behaviors can actually make us less wise as we age. Today, we'll explore 5 critical signs that might be holding us back, and more importantly, how to avoid them for a richer, more fulfilling life. Share your city in the comments below, and join our community of growth-minded seniors by subscribing. Now, let's examine our first and most crucial sign. 1. Lack of empathy, the silent wall between generations. When it comes to losing our way in old age, nothing hurts our relationships more than losing touch with others' feelings. Let me tell you about Sarah, a 78-year-old grandmother I met in Minneapolis, whose story might feel familiar to many of us. Every time her family gathered, she found herself frustrated and alone, though surrounded by loved ones. "I used to think I knew what was best for everyone," Sarah told me over coffee. "My daughter's career choices, my grandson's lifestyle. I had an opinion about everything. I kept telling them what to do, how to live. Before I knew it, the phone calls became shorter, the visits less frequent. I was pushing them away without realizing it." Think of empathy like a bridge. When we cross it, we can see life from our family's point of view. The American Association of Retired Persons, RP, found something interesting. Older adults who really try to understand their family's perspectives don't just have better relationships, they're happier and healthier too. Sarah learned to change her approach. Instead of saying, "You should," or "in my day." Logically, she started asking questions. What made you choose this path? How does this job make you feel? Simple changes, but the results were amazing. Her family started opening up more, sharing their lives willingly. Barbara Bush, our former First Lady, was a master at this. Even with her impressive background, she was known for something more important, her ability to connect with everyone, from her great-grandchildren to world leaders. Her secret, she once said, "I listen more than I talk and learn more than I teach." Want to build stronger connections? Start with these simple steps. Next time your grandson talks about his online business, resist the urge to tell him to get a real job. Instead, ask him to explain why he's excited about it. When your adult children parent differently than you did, take a breath before offering advice. Sometimes, the wisest thing we can say is, "Tell me more about that." Sarah's story has a happy ending. "Now our Sunday dinners are different," she says with a smile. "I hear about their lives, their dreams, even their struggles. And you know what? They ask for my advice now, not because I force it, but because they know I'll really listen." Remember, getting older gives us experience, but real wisdom comes from staying open to new perspectives. After all, isn't it better to have a warm relationship with family who think differently than to be right but alone? 2. Fear of change. When comfort becomes a trap. You know what really makes me shake my head? When I hear someone say, "I'm too old to learn that." Let me tell you about John, a 75-year-old retired teacher from Chicago who thought the same way. When COVID hit and his grandkids suggested using Zoom, his first response was, "At my age? No way." But here's where John's story gets interesting. After missing 2 of his granddaughter's birthdays, something clicked. "I felt like I was choosing between my comfort and my family," he told me, and family won. So he started, not with Zoom, but with the basics, one small step at a time. Change is like the seasons. It comes whether we're ready or not. Fighting it just leaves us stuck in winter, while everyone else is enjoying spring. Stanford researchers found something fascinating. Our brains can learn and adapt at any age. The real obstacle isn't our ability, it's our fear. In fact, their study showed that seniors who embrace new challenges maintain sharper minds and report greater life satisfaction. Want to handle change better? Start small. John didn't jump straight into video calls. He first learned to send text messages, then photos. Each small win gave him confidence for the next step. He joined a senior tech group at his local library, turning learning into a social event. They laughed at their mistakes together, celebrated each tiny victory, and supported each other through frustrations. "The first time I successfully hosted a family Zoom call," John says, "my grandkids cheered so loud I had to lower the volume. Now they joke that I spend too much time online." He even helps other seniors at his library get started with technology. Each small step forward, he shares, makes the next one less scary. What made the difference for John? He broke down the scary mountain of technology into small, manageable hills. Instead of trying to learn everything at once, he focused on one skill each week. He found friends who shared his goals, making the journey feel less lonely. Most importantly, he celebrated every victory, no matter how small. Today, John runs weekly virtual coffee chats with his grandchildren, participates in online book clubs, and even started teaching basic technology skills to other seniors in his community. "The funny thing is," he reflects, "I was so afraid of looking foolish that I almost missed out on all this joy. Now I realize that the real foolishness would have been letting fear win." Think of it this way. Every time we say no to change, we're really saying no to new possibilities, new connections, new joys. Being smart in our golden years isn't about knowing everything. It's about staying open to learning anything. After all, isn't it better to try and stumble than to sit and stagnate while the world moves forward? Remember, resisting change doesn't stop it from happening. It just stops us from growing with it. And in our golden years, growth isn't just possible. It's essential for staying vibrant, connected, and wise. 3. Blaming others, the comfort that holds us back. Let's tackle a difficult truth that often comes with aging, the habit of blaming others. While it's human nature to point fingers, this tendency can become particularly damaging in our golden years. Robert, a 68-year-old from Denver, learned this the hard way when he found himself increasingly isolated from his family. Blame is like a pair of handcuffs we put on ourselves. It might feel justified, even comfortable, but it restricts our ability to move forward. Dr. Sarah Williams, a leading gerontologist, points out that this habit often intensifies with age. As we face more changes and challenges, she explains, blaming others can feel like a shield, but it actually becomes a wall. Recent studies from the National Institute on Aging show something crucial. Seniors who take responsibility for their relationships report higher life satisfaction and stronger family bonds. It's not about taking blame for everything. It's about recognizing where we have power to make changes. Here's what actually works. Start with simple daily reflection. Ask yourself, in today's interactions, where did I automatically blame others? Maybe it was assuming your children are too busy to call or thinking your grandkids don't care about your opinions. Then challenge these thoughts with a powerful question. What can I do differently? The key is shifting from "they should" to "I can." Instead of "they should visit more," try "I can make our time together more enjoyable." Rather than "they don't understand me," consider "I can find new ways to connect." This isn't about dismissing real issues, it's about focusing on what's in our control. Support groups and community centers offer valuable spaces to practice this mindset. When we share our struggles with peers, we often discover new perspectives and practical solutions. Many senior centers now offer workshops specifically focused on family communication and relationship building. The results can be transformative. Research shows that older adults who shift from blame to responsibility typically see improvements in their relationships within just a few months. They report feeling more empowered, less anxious, and more connected to their loved ones. Remember, wisdom in aging isn't about being perfect, it's about being willing to grow. Every time we choose responsibility over blame, we open doors to deeper connections and greater joy. After all, isn't it better to focus on what we can change than to remain stuck in patterns that keep us isolated? 4. Closed-mindedness, the silent thief of growth. Now let's discuss one of the most subtle yet significant challenges of aging: a closed mind. It's a pattern that can creep up so quietly that we might not even notice it happening. Elizabeth, an 82-year-old from Seattle, recently shared a perspective that beautifully illustrates this point when she started her first piano lessons. Think of your mind like a garden. Left untended, it can become overgrown with rigid thoughts and old habits. The National Institutes of Health, NIH, has compelling research about this. Our brains remain capable of forming new connections well into our 90s. The real barrier isn't age, it's our willingness to keep that garden flourishing with new ideas. Recent studies show that seniors who maintain an open mind and continue learning experience significantly slower cognitive decline. More importantly, they report feeling more connected to their communities and family members. This isn't just about staying mentally sharp, it's about staying relevant and engaged in a rapidly changing world. Consider these practical findings. Learning new skills activates multiple brain regions simultaneously. Whether it's picking up a musical instrument, trying a new language, or exploring digital photography, these activities create what scientists call cognitive scaffolding, new neural pathways that help maintain mental flexibility. The solution isn't complicated, but it requires commitment. Start with small, manageable challenges. Many community centers offer classes specifically designed for seniors, from art workshops to technology tutorials. The key is choosing activities that push you slightly outside your comfort zone while remaining enjoyable. Intergenerational programs have shown particularly promising results. When seniors regularly interact with younger people, they're more likely to stay open to new perspectives and adapt to changing times. These connections help bridge the generation gap while keeping our thinking fresh and flexible. Warning signs of a closing mind often include phrases like, "That's not how we used to do it," or "Things were better in my day." While nostalgia has its place, getting stuck in past ways of thinking can isolate us from current opportunities for growth and connection. One practical approach is to deliberately expose yourself to new ideas daily. Read about unfamiliar topics, engage in conversations with people who hold different views, or try activities you've never considered before. The goal isn't to abandon your values, but to enrich them with new perspectives. Remember, maintaining an open mind doesn't mean accepting everything new or dismissing everything old. It means being willing to consider different viewpoints and adapt when appropriate. In our golden years, this flexibility becomes not just an asset, but a necessity for staying connected and relevant in an ever-changing world. After all, isn't it more rewarding to remain curious and engaged than to let our thoughts become as rigid as our joints might be? True wisdom lies not in knowing everything, but in maintaining the humility to recognize that there is always more to learn. 5. Living in the past. When memories become chains. Our final sign brings us to a delicate balance many of us struggle with: the relationship with our past. We all know someone who starts every sentence with, "Back in my day." But there's a crucial difference between learning from our past and living in it. Psychology Today recently highlighted an important distinction. Healthy nostalgia can provide comfort and perspective, but excessive dwelling in the past often masks a fear of the present. Think of the past as a compass, not an anchor. A compass guides us forward, while an anchor holds us in place. David, age 72, spent years telling anyone who would listen about his glory days as a corporate executive. Everything was better then, he'd insist. Today's world makes no sense. His constant comparisons to the past weren't just boring his family. They were isolating him from meaningful connections in the present. Research from leading gerontologists shows this pattern is surprisingly common among seniors. The tendency to idealize the past often increases with age, particularly when facing rapid societal changes. However, those who find ways to channel their experience into present-day contributions report significantly higher life satisfaction. The key lies in transforming past experiences into bridges rather than barriers. Instead of just reminiscing about how things were done, consider sharing those insights in ways that benefit others. Many successful senior mentorship programs demonstrate how historical knowledge can solve contemporary challenges. Here's what works. Start by recognizing when you're using the past as a shield against present engagement. Are you sharing stories to connect or to avoid dealing with today's realities? Consider documenting your experiences in ways that can benefit future generations, through writing, recording oral histories, or mentoring younger people in your field. Community centers and online platforms now offer numerous opportunities to share life lessons constructively. The goal isn't to stop valuing our memories, but to use them as tools for creating new connections and insights. Remember, wisdom isn't about knowing how things used to be. It's about understanding how past experiences can illuminate the present and future. The richest legacy we can leave isn't just our memories, but the ways we help others learn from them. After all, wouldn't you rather be remembered as someone who used their experience to light the way forward, rather than someone who couldn't stop looking back? Let's return to Margaret, our wise friend from Boston. Her journey reminds us that true wisdom isn't about age alone, it's about the choices we make every day. Whether it's staying open to new ideas, practicing empathy, embracing change, taking responsibility, or using our past to illuminate our future rather than trap us in it. These 5 signs aren't judgments, but opportunities for growth. As Margaret said, wisdom isn't about knowing everything, it's about continuing to learn, adapt, and connect. Which of these signs resonated most with you? Share your story in the comments below, and let's learn from each other's journeys. And if you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights on living our best lives at any age. Until next time, remember, it's never too late to grow wiser.